Hello, and welcome to Please Me, the sexy podcast that aims to destigmatize conversations about sex and sexual health. Today's episode is the very last of Season 1, and I honestly can't believe that it has flown by so fast. My purpose and goal was to help others feel empowered to begin difficult conversations with their partners and to educate about sexuality and sexual health. Over the course of the last 5 months, we have covered a whole host of topics from sexual liberation to safe sex to kink. Every episode was a labor of love for me and a true gem. I certainly hope you thought so too. Today, I want to gather all the incredible topics we talked about and just reintroduce them one by one, summarizing the season and all that we learned. I've been learning right alongside you in many respects and feel like I have grown from this experience so much. I have to say, I was not expecting to feel so much personal growth, healing, and empowerment myself, but by me encouraging you out there, it was like I was talking to myself and encouraging myself to be bolder, stronger, and let my big clit energy out in a big way. And I do believe I've accomplished that. In episode 1, we talked about the skewed version we get of sex in the media and how we generally see in movies and TV shows the portrayal of sex being mostly penetration alone. Most porn is no different, favoring the way men climax as the main form of entertainment and ignoring the way women climax. It's no wonder there exists an orgasm gap where studies show that 95% of men orgasm during partnered coupled sex while only 57% of women do. The orgasm gap is an unsavory fact that I personally want to change by educating people and especially women to learn more about how their bodies work so that we can all get our pleasure needs met. I am not okay with these statistics, and I feel like we can do so much better for ourselves. The fact that 80% of women report faking orgasms is a travesty to me, and I am determined to bring awareness and education regarding this very subject and calling for an orgasm revolution. Many women feel as if there is something wrong with themselves when they're not able to climax from penetration alone. Since this is all we see depicted in movies, we make the mistake of assuming that this is what sex is supposed to look like. Penetration with very little preparation for penetration, and a mind-blowing orgasm that follows. Actresses are supposed to act and make it believable for a movie, but we as women should not be acting when it comes to orgasms. Only 3 to 5% of women can climax from penetration alone. So guess what? Most women can't, and we need to take note of this and learn what women need in order to enjoy sex. The fact is that the majority of us need a lot more stimulation externally in order to reach orgasm. 95% of women need clitoral or external stimulation in order to climax. We learned this season that the clitoris is an extensive organ structure and is almost the size of a man's penis. The clitoris is the female equivalent of a man's penis, and it sits in the same place as a man's penis, on the front of the body. The clitoris is an organ that is both external and internal, and it runs under the vulva as well as what we see externally as the clitoral bulb and hood. Parts of the clitoris internally wrap around the opening of the vagina, and there are many sensory or pleasure receptors there. Deep within the vagina, only pressure receptors exist, so deep penetration can be painful for some, and often doesn't get women any closer to orgasm. There are many ways to get the woman's body ready for sex, and some tried and true ways are rubbing a woman externally for at least 20 minutes and adding oral sex if you enjoy that. Stimulating a woman's erogenous and non-erogenous zones can also help to get your lady closer to orgasm and ready for penetration. A woman's clitoris needs to become engorged in order to be ready for sex. And this doesn't happen spontaneously, but is a process that encompasses physical touch, care, and mental focus. Just as a man needs a hard-on to have penetrative sex, so does a woman. And getting her engorged is going to make sex more delicious for her, more enjoyable for all involved, and more orgasmic. Dryness is a big problem among women, and it is often because the vulva and clitoris are not being properly stimulated, which does not allow the vulva and clitoris to become engorged. In episode 16, we broke down the anatomy of the clitoris, vagina, and all areas where women produce vaginal fluids to get the juices flowing. It takes the woman to get engorged and the clitoris filled with blood so that the plasma from all the blood flow can seep through the vaginal walls in order to create wetness and that WAP, or wet-ass pussy, that we all long for. But we need to keep in mind that a woman can only produce so much fluid, and it is dependent on various factors, but the bottom line is that fluid can evaporate, and in prolonged sexual experiences, dryness can still be an issue. No matter how old you are, Lexi Silver in episode 15 talks about the benefits of using lube, which makes the entire experience so much better. There should never be skin pulling or chafing, and if there is, you definitely need lube. My personal favorite is coconut oil because it smells and tastes delicious. But if you are using condoms, I recommend trying out a few different lube brands to see which one is your favorite. I talk a lot about treatment for different conditions such as vaginal dryness, and I will mention here that this is one of the conditions I treat in my physical therapy practice located in Wellington, Florida. I also treat conditions such as erectile dysfunction in my practice, and I use acoustic wave therapy to help unblock the blockages in the blood vessels of the penis and clitoris and the surrounding tissue in order to improve and create more blood flow. Without blood flow, the penis will remain soft and the clitoris will not become engorged, so blood flow is key for both men and women. If this is you, don't be shy and reach out to me on pleaseme.online to schedule an appointment or a consultation. I had so much fun talking about out-of-the-box thinking when it comes to sexual experiences, and episode 9 and 19 were all about letting your freaky flag fly high. As there is no real definition of what quote-unquote normal sex looks like, I explored the topics of kinks and fetishes, and my beautiful and well-versed guest, Julieta Chiara, who is an expert Japanese-trained shibari rigger, talked about the ins and outs of the BDSM world, bondage, and submission. Turns out kink is not a fringe community, as 40% of Americans admit to being kinky, and 35% report having a specific fetish or kink. I talk all about my enjoyment of foot play and how it ties into our incredible nervous system and all of the pleasure receptors on our bodies. The bottom line is, our bodies were built for pleasure. So whether you are pleasuring yourself solo or with a partner or more, there is so much more beautiful enjoyment to be had. Julieta and I talk about dominance, submission, or liking both, and explain the differences and how we both love to be taken care of in our own ways. In many episodes, we talk about sensual exploration, and I cover anal sex in episode 8 and orgasms in too many episodes to name here. No matter what type of sexual exploration you enjoy, we talk about the importance of consent throughout the sexual experience and how it is always okay, no matter where you are in your sexual exploration, to get up and walk away or take a bathroom break if you are not feeling comfortable. No means no, after all, and sexual exploration is how adults play, but it takes sexual maturity to get it right. Lexi and I giggle about how sexual maturity is not based on age, but on behavior in episode 15, and I firmly believe that safe sex is a sign of sexual maturity. Safe sex is covered in episodes 2 and 7 at length, and as the face of safe sex, I constantly advocate for safety alongside pleasure. After all, a woman can't focus on pleasure unless she feels safe. Part of feeling safe is using protection, and I constantly am talking about ways to feel comfortable having these conversations with your sexual partner. Communication is everything, and feeling comfortable and confident telling your partner to wear a condom is part of sexual maturity. If your partner insists that he doesn't like them or doesn't want to use them, or worse yet, doesn't even have one, he doesn't deserve any of that big clit energy that I talk about in episode 5 and others. Big clit energy is the confidence that we have as women to be autonomous and confident in our sexuality. And this confidence translates into all the areas of our lives. The bottom line is, if you want protection and he doesn't, you can choose to leave or invite him to, because only you can grant permission for anyone to touch your body. Being confident in this autonomy is so important to the enjoyment of sex, and I encourage you to empower yourself and feel free to say what is on your mind. Too many times, women put themselves into situations that they are not ready for, and regret is far too common. This shows up in statistics that show that 55% of men report that they were able to reach an orgasm with their last hookup sexual encounter, while only 4% of women report having an orgasm during their last hookup. I encourage you to practice saying no in all areas of your life. It is a skill you will use over and over again in your lifetime, and it is an important skill to know when it comes to autonomy and sex. Latifah, Rose Red, and I talked about sexual abuse in episodes 13 and 14 and how that abuse can translate to challenges in our relationships, our sex lives, and our ability to say no. Working on any trauma is so important to breaking the chains of abuse, and I encourage anyone dealing with this type of healing or suicidal thoughts like Edwin and I explore in episode 17 to seek the help that you need in order to move past the abuse and live a life of fulfillment, love, and the pleasure that you deserve. We are all deserving of love and pleasure, and I encourage everyone to learn their bodies and figure out what feels good to you. Only then can you teach another person to please you. And it is my personal mission to change the orgasm gap, one person at a time. A woman's pleasure is equal to a man's pleasure, and I am all about that orgasm revolution. What will it take to close your own orgasm gap? Learning how to self-pleasure or masturbate is an important skill in this arena, and then feeling confident in sharing that with your partner is key to fully enjoying your sexual experiences. It is okay if you can't get there with your hands alone, ladies, and I encourage everyone to explore with toys and vibrators to find one or more that is a perfect match for you. You might find that you enjoy it so much that you start collecting toys for your sexual explorations. There are so many varieties and options, and Taylor Sparks and I talk about some of our faves in episode 18. I plan on expanding on this topic in season 2, so stay tuned. You may have heard of the art of being present in the moment, and this skill is so important when it comes to sexual experiences in order to get your mind into the right headspace so that you can fully enjoy sensual pleasure and sex. This topic comes up over and over again in my interviews with Latifah, Lexi, and Julietta, and this girl talk is so full of great tidbits and gems. Go back and watch on pleaseme.online if you haven't caught those episodes yet. Our mind is our biggest sex organ, and knowing what turns you on and what keeps you focused on the pleasure at hand varies from person to person. So it takes practice. Julietta and I chat about how BDSM can be a clear path to maintaining that focus, and I encourage you to explore your kinky side. Will you like feathers, spanks, or ropes? Everyone is different, and part of the fun of sex is exploring all of the endless possibilities. I encourage you to make the bedroom your adult playground and explore to your heart's content. And while you are exploring, check out episodes 6 and 18, where I talk about relationship options and all the endless possibilities that exist. I am a relationship anarchist, and I believe in throwing out the shame and societal constructs that have us feeling confused and negative about sexual exploration. After all, sex is a natural human behavior, and none of us would be here without it. Not to mention that our bodies were wired for pleasure, and every single sensory and pleasure receptor in your body is screaming for pleasure. So don't be shy and explore the beautiful body you were given. Embracing your sensual journey is a topic I cover in episode 10, and it is so important to a healthy and happy life. Finding that confidence and exuding that big clit energy wherever you go will bring you success, not just in the bedroom, but in all aspects of your life as well. As Julietta points out in episode 19, if you can ask for that mind-blowing orgasm with the squirting finish, you will be able to ask for that promotion at work as well. This confidence will help get you on that path to sexual liberation, like I discuss in episode 4, which I wish for every listener out there. My mission is to destigmatize conversations about sex so that we can all get our pleasure needs met. Whether you come from the kink community, the LGBTQ community, the African American community, the yoga community, the swinger community, the Latino community, or any other community that we touched upon in season 1 and all that we did not, we can all benefit from brushing up on our skills of flirting, seduction, and the art of the tease, as discussed in episode 12. After all, words are powerful, and sapiosexuals out there understand this more than most. Like Lexi pointed out, safe sex is sexy, and so is a sexy mind and intellect. Find out what your love language is and learn how to speak your partner's. Figure out what makes your heart melt or your heart race, and embrace these conversations with your partner or partners. Communication is the key, and if your desires are falling on deaf ears, you may need to be talking to someone else. As I close this first season of Please Me, I wish you all the courage and strength to pursue your best life, and that includes living your best sensual life as well. As a licensed physical therapist and certified health coach, I encourage those suffering from conditions such as erectile dysfunction, vaginal decreased sensitivity and dryness, painful sex and incontinence, as well as the side effects of treatments such as pelvic surgery or cancer, to seek help for their sexual dysfunction. You are not alone, and there is treatment and help out there if you look. In my practice in Wellington, Florida, I treat these and other sexual health conditions, and there is no shame in seeking help. I often find that my clients and patients are shy to talk about these personal issues, and so, among other reasons, this podcast was born. I also offer health coaching that includes sensual health coaching as well, to help individuals and couples find the solution to their personal and joint issues that are holding them back from exploring the beauty and fulfillment that a healthy sex life can bring. I am available for in-person treatment or virtual treatment and coaching, and I look forward to helping you. You can reach me on pleaseme.online, and I am always happy to hear from you and help get you on your path to sexual liberation. I hope you have enjoyed season 1, and I would love to hear what you enjoyed the most. I am also open to hearing your suggestions for future episodes of Please Me, so don't be shy and reach out to me. Thank you for listening. Until next time.